If you're struggling to keep your heart rate down when you're running, it might be because you don't have control of your breath. When you learn to breathe in a 360 breathing pattern, you're able to decrease your respiratory rate or breaths per minute and therefore have more control of your heart rate. This is really important if you're running in zone 2 this summer, trying to decrease your heart rate while you're running, and I'm going to show you exactly how you can do this. Hi, I'm Dr. Lisa. I'm a physical therapist and run coach. I help runners prevent and treat injuries, and I've helped thousands of runners from around the world. Last year, I actually had a breakthrough year with my running, had a very frustrating race, and then I decided to go all in on zone 2 training in the middle of summer in Richmond, where the humidity is always really, really high. So I had to learn to control my breathing to therefore control and decrease my heart rate. Now, you're not gonna have full control of your heart rate, but you can control other factors that can help decrease your heart rate. And that's where 360 breathing comes into play. Most of the time when we're breathing, when we're running, we're doing a lot of chest breathing or belly breathing. Now, the main muscle that we're breathing with is called the diaphragm. We want to use this muscle as our main primary muscle when we're breathing, when we're inhaling and exhaling. Our secondary respiratory muscles are in our chest, our neck, and our shoulders. So if you're ever going for a sprint and then you stop and you're doing a lot of chest breathing and shoulder movement, neck movement, you're using those secondary respiratory muscles. And that's okay, but when we're in zone 2 running, we really want to have control of our breathing with 360 breathing. 360 breathing really means we're expanding not just our belly into that belly breathing, but we're also expanding our lateral abdominals and our low back and a little bit of our mid back. So you can see it would be a full expansion as we inhale, not just expansion from the belly as we inhale. So let's go through some ways that you can start to incorporate this into your everyday life, because 360 breathing is not just when you're running. It needs to also be when you're just sitting and you're working, when you're even sleeping. It's just something we have to get in the habit of doing, so when we are actually running, it does become a lot easier. I think one of the really cool things about 360 breathing, when we start to really incorporate all aspects of our diaphragm and we're able to really open up our stomach and our sides and our belly and our back, we're able to decrease tension through our psoas, which is a hip flexor muscle, decrease tension through our low back, our QL, which is our quadratus lumborum, and our pelvic floor. So there's a lot of good benefits besides just being able to decrease your heart rate when you're running. So let me show you exactly what this looks like in a seated position. In this seated position, I want you to just sit cross-legged like you're gonna meditate, and I want you to put your hands on the sides of your ribs into the sides of your abdominals. From this position, keep your chest and shoulders relaxed, and I want you to just go into quiet breathing. From here, I just want you to feel with your hands. Are you only feeling your belly expand, or are you also feeling the sides of your ribs and your low back? I have my thumb wrapped around to my low back so I can start to feel a little bit if I do feel that expansion into my thumb from my low back. 2 more here. So now I want you to place your hands on the sides of your ribs, thumbs on your low back, and just try to push your lateral abdominals, your sides of your trunk, and your back into your hands in this quiet breathing while keeping your chest and shoulders and neck relaxed. Like this. In through your nose. And that's where you'll feel the expansion as you inhale, and out through your mouth. Good. Now, if you notice that maybe one side is not expanding like it should, maybe your back's not expanding like it should, I'm going to show you an exercise you can do so you can start to expand that side a little bit more. Maybe if that hip is tight, it's having a little bit more trouble expanding. So you're going to get into this position, one knee on the ground, other leg is out to the side, and I'm going to place my hand on the thigh that's out to the side. Now I'm going to bring it down so I'm side bending from my trunk. I'm not crouching forward, just into that side bend. And I'm going to place my hand on my side. Now when I inhale, I'm not going into deep inhale, deep exhale. I'm just going into quiet breathing. I want you to try to push your side, push your lateral abdominals into your hand here. This would be a really good exercise to do before you go for a run. And then if you want to check it, you can go ahead and do it to the other side and just feel, do you feel it expanding or is it having trouble expanding? For me, my left side has a little bit more trouble expanding. And that's the side where I've had a history of ITB syndrome, a history of hip tightness. So it does make sense that this side has a little bit more trouble expanding. So now that you understand what 360 breathing is, I really want you to focus on this and just be aware of this when you're in a seated position, watching TV, at work, eating dinner, whatever it is. I want you to practice it in your day-to-day life, and then you're gonna practice it into your running. One way that I like to do this is to take my running belt and put it on my skin and make it pretty tight. So I'll usually put it right around my belly button line, and I'll make it, not to the point where it's suctioning to my skin, but I'll make it tight enough to where I feel it on my skin. Now from that, when I'm running, I think about pushing my sides, my belly, and my back into my running belt for feedback. So I can feel if I'm only pushing my belly into the belt or if I am going into 360 breathing. So then when I'm running in zone 2, it's nice and humid, it's nice and hot. Maybe I'm creeping into zone 3 a little bit. I'm trying to slow my pace down, but my heart rate is still staying in zone 3. Then I am gonna try going into more of that 360 breathing, being more aware of my breathing. How am I breathing? Am I breathing through my chest and my neck and my shoulders? If that's the case, I probably need to walk, focus on my breathing as I'm walking, and then go back into jogging and trying to stay in zone 2. I hope this video was helpful. Definitely try to give 360 breathing a chance. Try it with your zone 2 training. It will take some time, but ideally this is the natural state that you're breathing in, whether you're quiet breathing or you're going into a deep inhale and exhale.